Hello from the 56th Zlin Film Festival. I'm here with the dear delegation from Great Britain. It's Tim Clague, and he's one of the directors of a film called Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg? And it's screened within the non-competitive section Panorama. So hello, Tim, welcome. So could you tell us what is behind this title, something about your film?
I always loved a mystery film where the children were kind of detectives, not official detectives, but they would try and solve a mystery. And when I was growing up, and I've seen them here today in Zlin, the guys that dress up as a big character. And we have those obviously as well in the UK, quite often where you might go on holiday to provide entertainment to the children. So in our movie, Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg, is about the character called Nelson Nutmeg, who is the mascot there at the holiday park where the children are staying, and they see him get pushed off a big cliff, which is quite scary, but is a little bit comedy as well. And then it's about solving that mystery about who did it, because although they are a little bit too old now for this kind of silly childhood character, they have a fondness to remember him from when they were younger, and so they decide that they owe Nelson Nutmeg the duty of solving the mystery and finding the killer.
Okay, and Dennis Tech, who is the second director, what does it look like to shoot a movie with somebody? I cannot imagine, do you fight often?
No, is the rather boring answer, because I'd much rather come and tell you some exciting stories of when we would fight. But no, it went really well because we wrote it together also. And I think that is the secret. Because we had developed the characters together and the story together, and we thought of the jokes and the set pieces and the scenes together, we had a shared understanding of each scene and what it was about, who was the principal character in that scene and what was the motivations of it. And by understanding that, obviously, not obviously, but I think for most films, that will then answer the questions of where to put the camera and what direction to give the actors and who should be, framed in such a way. And I think it could be more common moving forward. We found it a really good process, in a way, a bit like the Coen brothers. They were an inspiration to us working in this way. And it kind of, working with children is sometimes a little bit more difficult because they have a lot of questions and maybe need a little bit more directing. If you have two directors, that is okay, because perhaps Danny will work with the children and I will talk about lenses to the DOP and so on. But always with that shared vision, and that's got to be the important thing. Otherwise you will fight, yeah.
I think that for the audience, the main attraction, if I can say, is Bonnie Wright, one of the actresses that played in Harry Potter series. So how did you get this actress?
Yet again, and I apologise for it, not an exciting story, because all we did was we knew obviously of her, and we wanted someone that children and grown-ups would recognise as being someone that would mean it was a family movie. So we wrote to Bonnie's agent, who is in London, and they said that, she could be interested in it, but because she's not in the whole shoot. She's playing the villain that the characters think has killed Nelson Nutmeg, so she's not in it too often. So because it wasn't too many days filming, she was interested, and we spoke to her on Skype, and she was really what made her want to do it was not the script so much. She read the script, she liked the script, but her questions weren't about the script or the character. Her questions were about us and how we would work with the children, because she's done that herself. And she worked with 4 different directors, I think, over the time of those films. I think that she preferred the way that some worked rather than others. And she was keen that we were going to give the children a good acting experience, safe experience, and also would nurture their acting talents. So once we told her our methods of working with the children, that's what convinced her to do it. And because she thought, yeah, this is something that she could put her name to and be proud to be a part of.
Okay, so we are at the Children's Film Festival, and I asked this question all the guests. Can you remember your very first movie in the cinema?
Yes, I can very clearly. It was The Empire Strikes Back. And I was a little bit maybe too young for that movie, which is quite a dark movie in maybe the darkest of the Star Wars films. So it was quite scary, I remember. But yeah, that was my first. And then I also was a fan growing up of the Superman films, Richard Donner directing and Christopher Reeve, you know, starring those films. So those were my big movies growing up. But what we had also in the UK was Children's Film Foundation, which is now, well, stopped in the 1980s. And that funded a lot of children's movies, which doesn't happen now in Britain, which I'm sad about. But we made our movie anyway. You know, it didn't stop us. But used to see a lot of those films as well, which were, you know, modest budget, not much fantasy in them. But again, it's kids doing things. So not about grown-ups being silly, but about children doing active things. And that was an inspiration to me also in making this movie and bringing back that kind of story, which, as I say, in Britain hasn't been around really since about 1980.
Okay, so your film Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg is going to be screened tomorrow. So could you please invite the audience?
I'd really love as many people to come and see Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg tomorrow or whenever they can, because if you love exciting things, jokes about smelly farts, you're going to love it. That's the best I can sell it. That's honest, though. That's honest.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to Zlin, and check our program out. Thank you.